What's up, world? It's your transformation life coach, cultural strategist, and catalyst for change, Ebony Isis Booth. I am back. I'm on sabbatical from work for the month of December, which is really exciting, which means that I'm not in my office. I mean, trust me, I will find work to do. But today's video, I just wanted to come and shoot the shit about some of the principles of life coaching. And I wanted to start with me. I mean, I don't know where I am in this process, in my healing journey. So yeah, we're going to talk about rest and recovery, recharging, if you will. And what a sabbatical really means, how important that is. Yeah, child, a whole sabbatical. This is where spontaneity and I are not always best friends. Let me get some water. Thoughts. First of all, you see I'm in the bed. Or on the bed, folding laundry, watching a comedy, watching my dog, listening to him snore gently. "2022 has been expressly challenging by the way of practicing self-care. But it's practice. 2022 was a hard year. 2021 was a weird year. 2020 was a devastating year. 2019 was its own ball of wax. And the more I go back and think about it, it's been consecutive years of a lot of really challenging. Well, it's just been life. Life has been lifing, my loves. My life, the lives of my coach partners, the lives of my homies, my friends, my family members. Like, it's been really, really wild out here. And when I talk about self-care and the importance of self-care, I'm speaking about it through the framework of Black womanist theory, right? Or this concept that where I rely on and continue to go back to the Audre Lorde quote that self-care is not self-indulgence, but it is self-preservation. Therefore, it's an act of political warfare. And I mean that. I mean that. The tenacity, the fortitude, the resiliency that it takes to stay alive in this gauntlet, rat race, intersections of systemic racism and competing oppressions and white supremacy culture and the patriarchy and imperialist rule and, you know, eminent domain and, sheesh, capitalism. It's been a rough road to toe. And all of that, a culmination of all of our lived experiences since we incarnated to this plane in our physical forms and got these flesh suits, our bodies have been keeping the score as the sum total of 100% of our worst days that we have survived. And it goes somewhere in the body. And I'm like mellowing myself out as I feel myself talking about this because I want to be aware of even where the words are in and around my body as I say them. And I'm being conscious of my breath and noticing what is clenching, what is tightening, what is comfortable or uncomfortable as I'm even saying these things, just because I want to be mindful of myself and my presence, right, as I share this, so that I'm not moving from a place of like, let me tell you something, but so that I can actually share a message as it comes to me. What that is, I don't exactly know yet, but I'm going to try and be as clear as I can as a vessel so that I can share something with you that is for you. I've been living in a state of dysregulation where my autonomic nervous system has been stuck in the sympathetic state of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn in response to traumatic losses, grief, violation of boundaries and personal spaces, old narratives, things that happen in the news cycle, in my phone, in my life, in my bed, in my heart, in my home, in the world, in the collective consciousness of all the humans being in a space, right? And so a part of my healing journey into self-care and self-preservation has looked a lot like me using or employing mindfulness as a tool and modality to help me stay aware of my body's response and role in my experience on Earth. As an air sign, as a Libra, I have a tendency to practice disassociation. That's also a trauma response from growing up in a rather turnt family dynamic, where it was safe for me to kind of disassociate and leave my body or have my mind always be somewhere else, someplace else besides where my body is, or to literally like eject myself from the space so that my body is present, but my mind and memory is completely lost on whatever the experience was. And what was happening is that my body was still holding on to the effects of what was happening in its environment. So on another level, I'm also disconnecting from myself when I was practicing using disassociation as a coping mechanism to survive really wild situations, right? This might sound familiar to some of you. Some of you might be like, I don't know what this lady is talking about, but whatever. What is for you will find you. So self-care, rest, recharging is not something that is immediately accessible when you have lived a life of a dysregulated nervous system or are actively existing and living in trauma, in crisis, in a state of insecurity, in flux, in major transition and change. It can be really, really, really difficult to get still enough or calm enough to practice meditation, right? Even if you turn on an app, it still just sounds like noise. So I'm offering you this. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this so that you can give yourself some grace in the process of becoming and stepping into healing. And in that grace that you give yourself, just one thing at a time. And oftentimes, if you start with awareness and just noticing what is happening and experiencing a moment where you understand that you are a spirit with a soul that lives inside a body on this earth that is connected to other humans who are having the same experience, that can help get you back in your body long enough to just be aware of what the fuck is going on. It is a practice of slowing down. So I saw this tweet today. My therapist gave me some great advice at the beginning of my medical leave, which is also applicable to sabbaticals or any kind of break. I started off by letting you know that I'm taking a sabbatical for the month of December because of the wild ass year I've had, or maybe the wild ass life I've had, or maybe just, yeah, okay, we'll come back to that. Here's the quote. Rest and rejuvenation are two separate things. It's like unplugging and charging. Just because you're no longer draining the battery doesn't automatically mean it gets recharged. Don't confuse the need to rest with the equally important need to do things that rejuvenate you. You need time for both, and one doesn't automatically accomplish the other. What do you do when you can't find your rest? What do you do when you can't access rejuvenation because you are actively in a state of nervous system dysregulation that is making you either feel like you're in a constant state of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn? When we're in fight, I don't know what's happening with Avery right now. He knows that I'm talking to someone. It's not him, and he wants attention, so he's like doing somersaults on the carpet. Someone said somewhere that that's a sign of a happy dog. It's also a sign of an irritated dog owner, but we love the schnoodlepoot. So, yeah, if you're in any of those stages, like even say, for instance, if you're in a state of freeze, and your nervous system just shuts you down and you go to sleep, like sleep through appointments, sleep through commitments, sleep to the world, draw the blinds, can't get out of bed, shut down. Oftentimes depressed sleep is not actually restful sleep. You wake up sometimes feeling more tired and not entirely refreshed, right? A nap sounds like a cuss word, right? Avery James. Do you see what you're doing? You make a noise while I'm just recording. Depressed sleep is not necessarily restful sleep. But again, giving yourself grace to say, if your body needs rest, it's going to take it, right? But that can be one of those things that's confusing to the healing process, right? Where it's like the sleep is almost coming as a sign of defeat, as opposed to a birthright that your body needs because you're human. And rest is necessary for us to grow. I spent this entire year working my ass off, starting a business, practicing coaching, moving across the country, finding a new place of residence, supporting my aging parents, rebuilding relationships with my siblings, grieving the great losses of my god sister, my auntie, a former student, a dear community leader and friend who was violently taken from this earth. Like 2022 been trill. It's been wild. And I had gotten to a point where coming to the end of the year and 5 months into my new job, my new role, which is like an amazing, supportive, awesome position, closing out my group coaching program, all of those things got to be too much. And I was talking to my manager and I was like, yo, I don't got it. And it had never occurred to me before that I could ask for what I needed, which was time off, to not have to work my fingers to the bone. And I kept receiving offers from loved ones, from these angels that came into my life who saw me and offered me places of rest, who witnessed me in my labor and my work and the ways in which I was being extracted from. And they saw me and offered me rest, and I was still resisting it. The first time that my manager asked me if I would like to take time off for the rest of the year, I told him no, I'm fine, right? My cousin who gave me a place to stay, a beautiful place to stay when I moved here, offered to extend my stay so that I could take the additional time that I needed to find a place. I told her no. I was resistant to the rest because my nervous system had not adjusted to not being forced to produce. I didn't know what to do if I wasn't fighting. I didn't know what to do if I realized I wasn't stuck. I didn't know what to do when there were no people to be pleasing, right? I didn't know what to do when there was nowhere to run. And so coming to this place of peace, to just be still in my body, present with my breath, not asking it to do anything or to chant anything or to say anything or to be a certain way that could have space for the judgment of, am I doing this right? Is this right? Is this wrong? Literally to just sit in my body and rest my eyes or watch the hair on my arm grow was the first thing that I had to get comfortable with doing in order to find the stillness so that I could rest. The rejuvenation comes in through other activities. You know what I mean? The rejuvenation comes in because I'm finally paying attention to the ways that my disregard of my body showed up in my body. And I've been experiencing like really problematic knee pain and having a really hard time going up or down stairs, squatting, twerking, you know what I mean? Getting up and down out of chairs or whatever because my knees have been kicking my ass. And I was like, I don't really have time to deal with that right now. I don't really have time to do that. I broke my toe in August. The universe was asking me to slow down. I don't really have time to deal with that right now. But as a part of my rejuvenation, I'm in physical therapy. So I got feedback from a healthcare professional who basically explained to me exactly what's happening in my body that's causing me discomfort and offered me support and a schedule and routine and practices to fix it. And all of it requires me being acutely aware of micro movements inside my body. It is all calling me back home. And really, all any of this self-preservation is doing is calling you back home to yourself, to a deep self-awareness, to a deep resounding love, an unconditional agape kind of love for self, where you envision and embrace all that is holy and good and well and right within you, that the entirety of you is enough for this world. And as a part of your birthright, you get to be on this planet to experience life, not to do, not to produce, not to extract, but to exist. And that's enough. But slowing down in a society that wants everything to be so fast, we want 30-second reels. Now the reels on Instagram are down to 5 seconds. They're jamming so much content in that they want the most popular trending reels on social media to be 5 seconds freaking long. Wild to me. It is wild to me. So this is an invitation to slow down. I was laying here, I was folding laundry, and I was like, man, I should go downstairs to the office and set up the camera and record a video. I'm slacking on Vlogmas, and I'm like, YouTube ain't going nowhere. These videos ain't going nowhere. Me having the practice of just turning them on and recording and sharing my thoughts and being a vessel to share whatever message wants to come through me, that is the lesson. That's the practice. That's the activity. Look, that's the tweet, right? It's just me and my camera telling you what I know about some things. And you can ask me how I know down in the comments if you want to. I appreciate your likes. I appreciate your views. I appreciate it if you subscribe for more content. I really don't have an agenda here other than to be present and to share and not be stingy with the gift that I have, which is to be an excellent guide to help you get back home to yourself. And I can best do that by modeling and sharing my experience about how I have healed and come home to me, and how I've worked with folks who have done extraordinary things once they are able to find a place of stillness, identify the awareness of who and whose they are, bring themselves into alignment with a calling that feels greater than them, that is oftentimes something that has always been there. It was just the awareness was missing, and so they were missing the message. And then we work together to take actions to get to, closer to, a place of being that feels whole, that feels like hope, So I show up like hope because I'm hopeful. So yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say about self-care. I'm excited that I found out that while thick thighs do indeed save lives, thick thighs with weak knees are no bueno. Ain't nobody benefiting. That ain't no good for nobody. You know what I mean? That's just not, no, not, that's it. You know, a good toned quadricep is probably going to be the best thing for you. So I've got a little chondromalacia in my kneecaps, and a weak VMO I don't know what that muscle is called, but it's a muscle that's on the inside part of your thigh. Let me tell you something Auntie never knew. I ain't never been told that the inside of my thighs was too soft, okay? But as it turns out, they are. And so I don't have auntie knees. I just have to take care of my body. And as it turns out, all of that comes from me overcompensating and overworking myself and overdoing it while I was injured. So while my right foot was broken, I wasn't resting. I wasn't taking care. I was out of alignment. I was overcompensating on my left side on the exterior and lateral sides of my legs. So those muscles are super big and strong, thick, child. And then the ones on the interior or the medial side of my thighs are not as strong. And that's putting a pull in an opposite direction on my kneecap. Wild shit, right? But just being present and having that awareness of what's happening in my body and having alignment with my practitioner who is going to support me in fixing it, and then being able to take the action to get it done by showing up for myself is just another one of those ways that micro wins yield macro results. So I'm telling you, for the next 6 weeks, we're going to be out here. But 2023, you better watch out now, because they better not mess around and get me no mega knees. Don't do it. Don't do it. I think that's all I got for you tonight. I'm going to end here by saying that I am grateful for you watching, liking, and subscribing to my videos. You are enough. You have everything that you need. You came here with it, and nobody can take it from you. It might be hiding because there's some other bigger, stronger, louder parts of yourself that stepped in to ensure their safety. And those parts might be hiding those little guys that we've kind of shooed down into the cellars of our soul. But by stillness, through your breath, through guidance, through healing, we're able to create an environment that allows those parts of yourself to know that it's safe to speak, that when they speak, you will hear them and you will guide them into their purpose as well. They have magic for you. So I hope that you are doing at least one thing today that shines some light on the wisest and most sacred parts of yourself. Just one. A deep breath, a long walk, a hot bath, a good meal, a belly laugh, a butterfly hug, a kiss on the cheek, a favorite song, a prayer. It's yours. I got nothing but love for you, and I'm excited about what the rest of the month looks like. So let's be on sabbatical together, shall we? All right, y'all. Be light. Shine.